Did you happen to see that some of the guys in the room had posted that Unusual Whales was having a conversation
with Jem?
With Jem, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna DM him. He follows us. I want to get Jem on an episode.
I feel like an idiot. Are we saying his name right? I don't know how to pronounce CEM. I would say Kem, but
I would say Kem, but it's Jem, right, Smiddy? Jem.
What does Smiddy know?
Smiddy can't even hear us.
Figure out where he is.
Are you there?
I can hear you. Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, it's Jem, right? Jem.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says I believe so. So he doesn't know either.
He doesn't know. It's Jem. It's Jem.
Listen, I don't know. I don't know much, Ranchero. You know this.
it's Jem.
I do.
All right. So we got Pow yapping as always. I mean, a nice little rinse off the Fed rate shit. I mean, everything was slow up until then, outside of Google, which great short for anybody that got into that when the headline came out. Ranch was in the room and everyone's like, oh, I'm thinking about a bounce. Ranch goes, why would you just not short it? Like, the momentum is telling you to short this son of a bitch, not buy it.
It didn't make sense. Listen, there are a handful of traders in our room who are really good traders, and they're not prone to being wrong and or trading in a different way. But there are other traders in our room who, when they try to step in on stuff like this, I would say that their success rate is in the single digits.
Right.
And so there are some guys that don't get it, and we try to teach you when you are about to get T-boned. You gotta apply the lessons.
They brought the NASDAQ contracts all the way back to the VWAP from the New York Open, by the way.
I mean, that's the game.
Mm-hmm. That's the truth. I bailed on my Q's position from yesterday that I added at the end of the day. Yeah, the 490 calls. I took them off this morning, down about 50%, a little over actually, probably 60. So lost 30,000 on that, but I'm happy I did. They're trading 6.5 right now. So
those were Qs, Smiddy?
Yeah, I took the 490s. They were so cheap. It seemed like one of those situations that, could have gone either way. And so I took the cheap bet, which makes sense why it was inexpensive, right? It wasn't going to pay out. So I got suckered there for a little 30 grand this morning, but that was pretty much all I had. I haven't done much.
My two
go ahead.
jabroni degenerate positions are on Joby, and I have calls on that. I have the leap calls on that, and my average is $1. And then I also have these spec lottos on cores, which I used the profits from the equity trade to basically just use those profits as a risk-free lotto gamble. So I'm in good shape on both of those for whatever fuckery they throw at us tonight.
I like it. I think that Joby long term will be kind of interesting. They have, and I believe GJT knows more, but I want to say they have a big contract with the Saudi government, if I'm not mistaken. It might be something out of Dubai, that they were going to start testing air taxis, I think, early next year, maybe 2026.
I mean, I think that this application is more military than it is robo-taxi.
Right. Yeah.
But who knows?
Makes sense.
Who knows? I mean, the longs that I like are almost all concentrated in the semiconductor space, because that's where the best discounts are on the highest quality on the board currently.
Right. You know what that
Joby is just spec future shit, right?
Right. A name that we've seen sweeps in, and you got me thinking about that with the defense contracts on Joby, was KTOS, Kratos Defense. And this thing is having quite the year. It's actually doing pretty well.
Is Kratos a Greek mythological something? Why do I know Kratos?
Kratos is a video game.
Yeah,
Kratos is a video
guys
game
are a
character.
security solution. Yeah, but
It's from
this is
God
the
of War.
company.
No, it's from
It's
God of
actually,
War. Okay, I don't care about the company. God of
All right,
War.
yep, you're
Smitty.
right. Yep, Joe's right.
Thank you.
Joe's right.
Thank
No.
you.
But it is from Greek mythology.
Yes.
Yep,
In
yep.
Greek mythology, Kratos, also known as Kratos or Kratos, the divine personification of strength. He's the son of Pallas and Styx. Fascinating.
Little history lesson for everybody out there.
Yeah, so far, Smid, kind of piggyback off the podcast episode we dropped today, but uranium looking good again today.
Mhm.
We like it.
I looked at Oklo this morning.
Such-
Pulled back a little bit, which again, the hard part about Oklo, I called this out last earnings, is that they make no money, they have no revenue. It's a
so it's a
complete
business plan.
fucking it's a business plan.
Sounds
exactly,
like Palantir.
with a market cap of 3.7 billion. So it's just fucking ridiculous to me, all because the goofball from OpenAI is or was on the board, Sam Altman, who I believe stepped down recently.
Yeah, he did.
So, but I do love these small. I think SMR actually is probably the better play on that side. Let's see
But
if these
Smith, you
guys.
like
Yeah,
these-
they've got some revenue.
You like these for what?
Dude, I like the nuclear reactor play. I think
No, I
it's,
get it.
I think that it's the future.
Long term. Come on, man. I'm a golden retriever. Throw
Golden
the ball.
retriever.
No, I like these for the long term, and I think it's a little far out. We need obviously a little bit of government backing. Trump, I think that was yesterday, right? Mentioned something about lightening up restrictions on nuclear. I think that it'd be a long-term play. Talking 2+ years, more than likely. Any of these small nuclear reactors take quite some time to get up and online. So it's not going to be, you're not going to get a big, payoff on the energy front anytime soon.
Let's see what I've got. So in that space, I've got CEG and PWR.
CEG looks like quality over here too.
All right.
You want another degenerate play?
Of course, always.
So there were put sellers in Bros yesterday. They've got earnings tonight. I'm tempted to take some.
What are you looking at? Like the 65s, or are you going to go at the money?
Did you just answer your own question, my friend?
What do you think? It's always at the money for Mr. Ranchero.
Got to be at the money. Here's the problem.
I want to get paid.
Right. No, that makes sense. So I went and had some of their coffee the other week. We've talked about this I've heard you and Jay talk about it on stream enough times. So I went and popped over there the other day. The coffee was ass. It was fucking terrible, Ranchero. I came home and immediately made espresso and threw that shit out. So
I've never had it. I can't imagine myself ever going there. But I think that tons of people, Smitty, in this country I don't think they care. And my guess is they roll, they don't have to get out of their car. And it's probably a higher mix of like sugary drinks anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's where he just fucked up, right? That's where Smitty fucked up because the coffee, brother, have you been to this website? Nobody's going to Dutch Bros to get old man regular coffee like you and I would drink. They want the Poppin' Boba Fire Lizard Rebel with energy drink in there. They want a shark attack. They want a double rain row.
Yep. Take me to the ER.
Look at this shit.
Type 2 diabetes and a heart attack is what that is.
Let me stop this. And look at this shit.
Good Lord.
This is what people want. Okay.
But Smitty, you're also trying to apply a fundamental reason to a speculative play. Like the fundamentals or how good the coffee is has nothing to do with the fact that there's a put seller in there, and they might.
Ranch is like, listen, there's a put seller. I like getting this. He goes, I went there.
Yeah.
Their coffee's ass.
I know.
Yes. You know what? That's a perfect response for me to not want to make a trade. Is because Smiddy told me that he got basic generic coffee from a fancy place that he did not like.
Oh man.
I mean, look
This
at
is
this
the quality research we pay for.
The Annihilator. People are going for the Annihilator. There's so much sugar in this shit.
Oh my god.
Anyways,
macadamia nut. What nut breve? What is that? What the fuck is
exactly the double torture?
What does that mean? What is nut breve?
Double torture.
Let my nuts breathe. What is that?
So look at all these drinks. Look at all of them.
I'm curious now.
And this is what he did. This is what you did, Smiddy. Right? You went here, and listen, I can't even tell you where to find.
They got coffee classic. They got coffee classics over there. Come on now.
Where is it? Where are we at? Where are we at? Dutch coffee classics. Okay.
There we go. See that? It's
they don't
just terrible.
What did you get?
Terrible.
A cold brew?
Yeah, I mean, I ordered a cold brew. It tastes like they gave me a fucking watered down, double shot of espresso. Jesus, you guys are killing. And they call the baristas broistas. I can't make this up.
I
can't make it up. Broistas. And here's the thing: every time you guys aren't wrong, and Kelman said it as well. Every time I drive by this place, the fucking line is double stacked, and they've got nuts. To your point, Ranchero, they do it like in and out style, where they have the person out front, the broista out front, actually taking your order, so they can fucking crank them out, get you through the line faster.
But
so
I mean,
it's probably.
I don't even care though. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right. I saw put sellers.
Smiddy is still trying to defend his position of, listen, the coffee was ass. And Ranch is like, let me talk about the trade setup. I don't care about the fucking coffee.
Listen, I just looked up what nut breve is. This is comical because it's basically just you're mainlining a clot to your fucking LAD. So a nut breve is a type of coffee beverage that combines a coffee flavor like chocolate macadamia nut with steamed half and half. Fucking steamed half and half?
That sounds horrible. I'm sorry. Steamed half and half?
Fuck.
Half and half is fine, but not steamed? This is where we need Norse. This is a Norse conversation.
He's in here in the comments.
We need to get Norse on this stream to talk about the coffee because he is the connoisseur. But anyways, Ranch, talk to us about the trade setup because that's what people probably care way more about what you're gonna do with Dutch Bros.
Okay, again, total spec lotto degenerate trade. That's it, nothing more. It's a coin toss. I saw a put seller yesterday. I don't even remember what the line was. Can you look it up, Joe?
Yeah, I'll pull it up. I'm going to put up the chart.
So whatever it was, I'm like, all right, noted, put sellers. Somebody thinks they know something, and it was a decent amount. Yep. So it was like, all right, I'll wait and see what happens, and I'll look to buy this just before the close, and I'll look to buy some calls at the money, nothing crazy, just for entertainment purposes only, 10 lot, 20 lot, something like that, and see if I get lucky. But I like that there's a put seller because whoever that put seller is either knows something or truly is willing to own the stock at that strike. And
55s for May.
They sold May 55s.
Yep, for 260K.
Of them.
That's aggressive. In a name like this with its float, that's aggressive. So I'm willing to take a shot at that. Just the same reason that I'm doing it on Coors. The only difference is Coors is risk-free, whereas Bros would be just chucking my meat off of the cliff and see what happens.
Chucking your meat off a cliff to see what happens.
You just gotta chuck it.
Huck. The kids say huck.
Huck it.
I mean, it's honestly not too bad, especially these aren't weeklies necessarily. They're monthly expo. So it's, 420 at the 60. So at the money is about $4.
Yeah.
Not too bad, honestly.
Am I willing to throw $4,200 in a hole on a 10 lot?
Mm-hmm.
If there's a put seller there, I'm more likely to do it. And it could be a nothing burger,
like it.
right? The thing could go down to 57. I'd be a loser, and the put seller would still be a winner. So
Right.
there's that risk too.
I do like it. This Bros was one that Kelman had mentioned to me last fall, I want to say, and he had a nice price target on it, and it got almost there. That Kelman knows his stuff. If you're out there listening, Matt, he's there somewhere. I know he is.
Shout out to Kelman.
Yeah, Kelman does know his shit.
All right, let me put up.
Well,
some
other than that, guys, I'm stuck and upside down in this fucking Moderna. 100,000 shares of this piece of shit from 27, almost 90, and it's just garbage. Absolute garbage.
Where did you buy it?
Monday at 27.90, essentially.
What's the primary trend, Smitty?
Listen, Rancho, I tried to explain this to El Cliente, and he is convinced that these guys are going to cure the world of all the diseases. And I talked him off the cliff of 300,000. So coming into Monday, he wanted 300,000. And I said, dude, please, if this goes to zero, we can only lose 2.7 million. Just let me do 100. So I'm going to probably start writing against it, despite him not wanting that. I got to do something to manage this a little bit because that shit bothers me. There's no need to sit in a $380,000 drawdown like this. It's silly.
Yep, because you know what it is equivalent to, Smitty? It's equivalent to being at one of those, any kind of a music festival in the middle of July, and it's 98 degrees out, and you got to go to the bathroom bad, and you get into that line for the porta potties. You get in there, and then in that 100-degree heat, that door locks, and you can't get out, and you're stuck in that little fucking 100-degree heat with the door locked.
That is the worst and best way to describe this.
You can tell them to enjoy that hot ass porta potty with the honey bucket.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Good Lord, baby Jesus.
He's stuck in it. Don't worry.
I mean, can you at least talk him into like writing calls on half of it every time it pops?
That's what I'm going to start. I'm just going to do it. We're not even going to have the conversation because he will not understand. I just got to shoot. And if I get bitched at, at least I can sit there and say, hey, I scraped 60 grand this week. What are you mad about? As it sits there, the hard part is in that conversation on Saturday, I said, look, I pull up the chart for 2 seconds and bottom of the range was about 23.5. And I said, why don't we wait? We're probably coming back to 23, 24. And lo and behold, we're sitting at $24. So you can't, sometimes you can't talk people out of their bad choices in life. It's like getting a shitty tattoo. You can tell them a million times that the tat's upside down and they're still going to do it because they want to look at it.
Biotech is just, it's always very difficult until the shiny moment that it's not. And then that shiny moment goes away.
Right. And, on that note, on the fundamental side here, VS had some really, really nice insights, sent a handful of articles over. And one of his big takeaways from that conversation was RFK does not want these all-in-one COVID flu shots, period. And guess who's going to be the guy making their rules, know? So that is a headwind for sure. And that was really, I hadn't even thought of that. I really, again, I don't have to talk up the room to most of you folks in here listening, but that's one of the great parts of this community is somebody else who knows way more about the space than you do, hollering at them first thing on a Monday and they hit you with a bunch of shit. That's like, oh, good point, So that was nice.
Somebody in the comments section here is saying they're long. So Aaron's saying he's long SRUUF. What the hell is that?
I was wondering the same thing.
It's a Sprott physical.
Oh,
so those are, and yeah, the Sprott funds are actually pretty good. Those guys, actually buy and hold the physical materials, whether it be their metals or their uranium. Their gold is a pretty good one forget the ticker on that guy, but heard some conversations around those funds, and they're pretty solid.
You got to be long term.
Not hearing anything else from
Pow.
J Pow. I mean, he's still yapping. I have him on in the background with the last Benzinga Fed Chair. Powell says right thing to do is await further clarity. Economy doing fine. Our policy is not highly restrictive. Businesses and households very broadly are concerned. They're postponing decisions. If nothing helps to alleviate those concerns, they would expect it to show up in data in the weeks, months ahead. Uncertainty can show up in weaker economic data, which is what you've been talking about, Ranch. QE wasn't beyond the confines of our mandate. And he's still getting asked questions, probably about his tie color.
The fun or the not so fun thing about when these things happen is you can't make any kind of an actionable decision in your trading off of those comments and off of what he's done. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to wait until July now to trade? I think it's more just a conversation about how is the broad economy doing and how long do we have to wait in line in our cars for nut bream or whatever the fuck it is. That's not helping.
Oh shit, look at the update on the Fed watch here now.
What do you got now?
Here's your update on a Fed cut. It is now moved to 75% chance there is no change. A week ago, it was a 65% chance of a change. Now it is flipped, which is not surprising.
Did that headline just come out?
No. So this is the CME tool. They update this in live real time based off interest rate traders and how they're doing probabilities. So right now, the probability is swapped as of right now.
There was an algo that just hit over the last 5 minutes. So
shit, look at it go.
Yeah.
We're seeing stars.
The gold star strategy is working pretty well today, Joe. Ron, you're going to have to throw this in your script over there so you can see what Joe's special gold star strategy.
So now the problem,
never changing the
all
name.
All of this talk now of like Dutch Brothers, et cetera. If I hear Gold Star, I'm thinking, okay, is Joe talking? Is it a Skyline thing? Like, why? I don't like. That's just going to confuse me now. The Gold Star trade.
Yeah, there's basically I built a scalping tool for NQ, and the easiest way for me to put it on there, so because again, it's built in the background, and it gives me like, okay, this would be not a bad spot for you to short or buy for a scalp. So I just have it populate a star on my chart. Then I know that this is an area where I might have interest. And if it hits like a VWAP or something, it's usually a really good trade. And just because it looks more aesthetic on the chart, I picked a gold star because of you, Ranch. It's a gold star because of Ranchero, right? That's like, yeah, that's what we're going to do this. And there's no other better name for this.
That's respect.
It's a lot of respect for the Ranchero, but it's
is it an indicator that you made, Joe?
Yeah, I made it and I pop it on, it's on TradingView. I mean, I could show it.
Send it to me.
I should send it to you. It only works at NQ though, so I'm just.
That's fine. Let me just observe it.
Sure, I'll send it to you. You got to DM me your TradingView username.
I think you are. I will. I don't even know.
And then I'll give you access to it.
Oh, here it is.
Tougher when there's like news, obviously driven shit because of the way the setup is. You could obviously just run through it, but usually, I don't know. Smid, you've been watching it now. It's pretty good for. Scalps, and it's built off of something, like it's built off technicals, Ranch, so it's not just some fugazi shit. And I've back tested it for about 6 months now. Fugazi,
who's it or what's it?
Fugazi.
What did Reddit end up doing today? It was looking weak this morning. Yeah, they sold this thing all the way down, trading 104.45 now.
Oh yeah. By the way, Smid, thanks for bringing that one up. That's a lotto that worked in the after hours. And when we came in the next day, it was like I was scrambling to get out of that thing with a small loss.
Yep.
Oh, wait a
You
second.
know, I have my
Not to you guys go ahead. I'm gonna look into this, and then I have something on Bros. I think for Ranchero, but go ahead.
Broista.
No, I'm still holding my 25 lot. So I traded commons against it and was able to scrape back. You know, in the after hours, I booked that nice. What I catch $10 on the 1,000 lot, and then
Oh, nice.
scraped another 5,000 back or 4,600 on the following Monday.
Well,
So I'm
I
going
was
to be in the whole 10 grand on that. So
I
that's
was chirping you for selling it early, and it turns out you're a freaking genius, Smitty.
let's not go that far. All right. I'm about a 70 IQ point short of that, Ranchero, but thanks for the kind words. Oh man. But no, so flip side is I probably should have continued selling this on the short side and scraping back the rest of the premium, which, you know, I still have tomorrow and Friday that if
Yep.
I wanted to make this a wash, I think it's doable. You know, this is not a terrible spot though. I would almost expect a bounce here, but with earnings out of the way,
I don't know.
looks like somebody just unloaded. Yeah, someone wanted out of this thing.
You got a gap fill at 101.82, so maybe you get
Mhm.
a shot there, but I don't think you've got much to hold you up until you get there.
Yep. And today I had my eye on this. We had the VWAP from the lows back in April. That was kind of support for the day, and it cracked right through that and kept on going. So sellers are definitely in control here
Yes.
until
agreed.
further notice on the Reddit.
Yep.
So Jay just posted Bros lines. I mean, if I'm gonna put this on the stream here,
Do it.
but look at this right here. I mean, if I'm gonna zoom in on it. But 70% off the bid for 60 puts, which is where we're at in price. So I went and looked up the contract to see if that was like a closing, like someone closing, but it's over open interest. So I'm not sure what it's larger than the open interest that's there. That's interesting.
On the 60 puts.
Yeah, which is where the price is.
Hmm.
You know, unless the guy that sold the originals rolled it up. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's just at this point, it's just jockeying, and all of these guys are tossing coins right here anyway.
Yeah, really interesting to see that usually when you have these earnings ones that they show the flow on, right? Like it's usually all over the place and tough to actually like get a read. But this looks relatively bullish. All things considered, minus these lotto tickets here for 42.5. Interesting. I'm gonna have to ask Jay if that's tied to anything. Or if there's adjusting of positions.
Jobless rate.
Are they still questioning Powell over here? This is going on for too long. Hey,
Yeah, he's still yapping.
don't bark at everybody.
Nothing
Over the space.
Got these crazy barking dogs over here.
Here's the newest lines from him. Such a non-answer across the board. Data
About
can
my
break in
TLT
a
sleepers.
way that favors one goal or the other. Like what? That's such a non-answer. U.S. debt is on unsustainable path. Labor market cooling. Unemployment rate had been rising. Blah blah blah. Says he doesn't. That Congress doesn't need his help with monetary policy. What? What's going on with your TLT? Let's take a peek.
Not much. Not much, honestly. Just a little bit working its way up there. Grandpa Smid in the TLT trade.
I mean, your first call on it was great. You got it here all the way up to 90. It's beautiful. Looks like all the hot flow is just Google short-term shit.
Yeah, did you guys catch this? Oscar Health, by the way, had earnings yesterday.
Oscar Health. This is the first time I've ever heard of it. How am I
Yep.
supposed to catch it?
Sorry, it was this morning actually. This was one of those wacky names that caught some flow, got everyone all excited, kind of faded off, and then big old pop today, up 32%. So I guess it looks like a higher membership rates. So it's some sort of health services shenanigans. I'm not exactly sure, but nice move there. I would expect a fade, to be honest.
Reported total revenue of $3 billion for Oscar Health. Damn.
Yeah.
Total
Yeah, after
degenerate sweeps on ADMA just came through for earnings. Small, but that was a name that we've seen trade prior. So would they hit 5/16/30s?
Now we got RSI in the rooms in that ADMA. Another health company. I show earnings for those guys tonight.
Yep.
Okay.
Didn't I just say that, or did I say a different date?
Smitty doesn't really listen to us.
Listen, I can't read and listen at the same time, apparently.
What happened to AMD is a question in the chat.
Seriously? I think they're just
Well, let's take a peek at what happened to AMD. This is what happened to AMD. Earnings and goodbye.
So it's a, I'm not sure if it's a rhetorical question or not. However, the part of the issue with AMD is, from a technical standpoint, the trend is solidly down. The results from earnings were lackluster. The guidance was not very good, and they are net insider sellers. It doesn't surprise me that AMD, on any kind of an attempt to try and move higher, sells off. The pattern just keeps repeating itself. And I think that a lot of traders waste a lot of time being focused on the name, and the more people who are interested in trying to get it right in the face of all of the information that you have telling you it's not the right time to do that, you just continue to frustrate yourself and run headlong into a wall. And I think whatever happened to AMD happened to AMD a long time ago.
It came after this EOS pretty hard today. Looks pretty good for a little continuation. That's one of those names that I was in at, like, I want to say $1.70, and got out at like $2, thinking I did pretty well there. And this thing has just continued on its
What's
way.
the ticker, Smiddy?
EOS Energy.
Yeah, there's been it's on the top bet list today, or top bull sweeps today. They bought January 2710 calls.
They're like a battery tech company or something along those lines. I think they build like industrial and like grid storage battery capacity, if I'm not mistaken. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like on the top bull sweeps for the day, you got CME January 26 to 90 calls. A lot of KNSL.
The doggies are wound up today.
Yeah, it's get home from school time.
Those
It's the worst
bastards.
time of the day when it's nice out now. She's like a guard dog. And then the thing is, she'll go out there and then she just, just wants to be pet.
Joe, how big is that dog? Is she like 30, 40 pounds?
Maybe I can go get her to come over here. You can see. Harper. Harper.
Shut your face, Harper.
JT asking about Intel. Dude, Intel is in the permanently $20 a share camp.
There she
and
is.
I don't think anything's gonna fix that company, my friend.
That's
I
the-
tried to play this.
This is the culprit, guys, of all the barking at all times. Right here.
Sorry, Smitty. I interrupted Smitty's Intel rant for your dog.
I'm sorry, Smiddy. You
No,
can talk
no.
about Intel again. Okay, go down.
Oh, no,
Let us
you're
do our
good.
job.
We had a question. We had a question in the chat from JT. So
Answer it
that's
away.
the problem. I traded this thing from 21 to 23, got out, was happy with my gains there. It just continues to fall back to this 19, $20 zone. And I don't know what's going on with it. I think maybe it's incompetence leadership. If I'm not mistaken, this thing's trading below book value as well by like a decent margin. Let me double check that. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do to solve their problem. And maybe they don't, they could start selling stuff off. I think they were in talks. Yeah. Book per share now is about 23. So still undervalued, but they had a ton of cash on hand and they don't seem to do anything with it. So kind of tough for those guys.
What a fall from grace from Intel. I mean, as someone that has been building their own computer for like the last, I don't know, 12 years ish, right? I think I built my first one when I was 16. So even longer than that, 15 years.
Intel has struggled
Crazy.
for such a long time. I mean,
look at how bad this has been. I mean, I will tell you, I only ever put Intel chips in like everything. For the last build I did was the current one I'm using now, and that was the first time I put an AMD processor in my computer ever.
Mm-hmm. Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joe or Ranch, if you guys know more, but Intel was making chips for Mac for the longest time, right? Like they were the chips that were in.
my Mac has an Intel chip.
Yeah.
Yep. Both two of mine do, my mini and my laptop here. And now I believe ARM is starting to help with that on top of Apple coming out with their own silicon, right? All of their new chips are supposed to be really amazing. So when your big buyer comes through and says, you know what, we'll do it ourselves and we'll do it better. I mean, that's a really, fundamental change from your business structure. Like who are you going to sell this to? And then, like you said, Joe, your competition is going to be NVIDIA and AMD, ARM out there, which I think is helping with the structure of the iPhone builds now. It's, it's a tough space to be in with some really bright people.
I mean, I could tell you, at one point, they were like the darling of all of it. If you go way back, like the Pentium processor was everything, right? I could nerd out about this shit for forever, but the Pentium was huge.
But the shift in the chip space has been directly tied to the move in AI and not personal computing.
Exactly.
Mobile. And the important pieces in semiconductor land that I think people overlook is what is important in the stack of the nano level chips. And what do I mean by stack? The process of building the chip, which is why companies like AMSL and Applied Materials, that's why those names are important, is because those are the chips that have the focus. And if you look at, and I'm not trying to throw AMD into the Intel category, but it's kind of dangerously wobbling on the edge of that. And to Smitty's point, if you've got Apple telling Intel, we're just going to make our own chip and we're going to make it better. And then Apple doesn't have to lower pricing, they improve their margins and give consumers a better product, that makes the world for AMD, Intel, it makes it impossible for those guys to maneuver.
Yeah.
Yep. And then JT added that it looks like Intel is going to have a 1.8 nanometer process coming online.
They're
you, my
trying
friend,
to catch up. They're trying to catch up. I don't know if they're gonna.
Right. I was going to say, you know, more than I do on this precise subject. So I would keep digging there. You may find something that we don't know.
Yeah,
because I am not as versed in that.
JT, I mean, that the question I think, JT, is can they pull it off? If they can pull it off, you've got something. And Intel is priced cheaply enough that if you want to buy an Intel and stick it in the corner of your portfolio and see what happens, you probably can. But if the question is, do I buy an Intel thinking that it's the core or the backbone of my semiconductor holdings, I don't know if that's the right frame of mind to buy it.
Oh, Intel.
It kind of looks like a Hail Mary, what they're trying to do.
It's a really good point, though, about the whole AI and the nano chips and stuff, Ronch, because, I mean, at one point, I've been putting NVIDIA GPUs in my computers for forever. But that's not the reason why they skyrocketed to where they're at. It's
Right.
their GPUs with AI and, you know, mining rigs and everything like that of why people are so interested in it. It's not the personal computing space.
I agree with that.
Man, what a buy that would have been. If I would have bought the stock the day I bought my first NVIDIA GPU, holy hell.
You would have lost it with your Pokemon card.
First edition holographic Charizard.
I'm with you there, Joe. We were buying those NVIDIA cards to run the mining rigs back in early 17. It was trading $3 a share.
When I bought my first NVIDIA GPU, was what back?
That was pre-split, or that was pre-split. So that would.
Well, again, this is going to be be an effed up look back because of the splits. But when I first built mine, you know, the price was back here in 08 or 09, 20 cents. Again, the splits in this, but crazy.
You'd be retired on a yacht right now, or living.
Yeah, I was a broke high school kid.
Smitty, let me ask you a question. What do you think your net worth needs to be to justify a yacht?
Oh, honestly, I would say 50 million plus. I mean, 50? Depends what kind of yacht do you want?
Right.
Like, are you talking like a Sunseeker 60, or do you want like a Bezos fucking, Hilton on the water? Even for a Sunseeker, because I looked, I was like, hey, it'd be really fun to throw one of these in Miami, go to the Bahamas, take a nice trip like that. And when I started really digging into the cost, it's the old saying of the best days. What is it? The best days you have owning a boat are the day you buy it and the day you sell it. Right? Like, it's just because when you start getting into the hurricane insurance, if there's a hurricane, you got to go then pay like emergency port service to like get it to a new port so you can actually not get hosed on your insurance if you have to make a claim. Just didn't seem worth it. And then on top of that, if you can't drive a boat or you don't want to drive the boat, are you going to pay a captain? Are you going to have to pay some guy? So for me, it just didn't seem worth it, and even then it was kind of doing the math of dreaming. Like, it's almost like having a private plane,
So
you start looking into that.
What would be the annual cost, including the purchase price of that kind of vessel that you're talking about? What did the numbers say?
I want to say all in all, it was going to be like 600,000 a year on top of the purchase price, which was, I want to say, a couple million. So you just quickly run into this wall, and I could be off that. And that was a couple years ago that I did all this math.
All right,
but those
let's say-
Sunseekers aren't cheap.
let's say you have a portfolio of 50 million, and that portfolio is conservatively based, and let's say it kicks off annual income of around 3%. That's about $1.5 million. You're going to take 600 of that and kick it into the boat.
Yeah, see, it just doesn't make any sense.
My point is, I think you need more than 50 million to justify buying a yacht.
Right.
Like you probably need to be in like the 500 million category if you're going to consider it.
Right. And these aren't even crazy sized boats, by the way. These are pretty,
That's what I mean. That's like a moderate,
like,
right?
yeah, you're not going to have like your, extended family on this. It would be like you and, your wife, your partner, and then maybe a kid or two that you could have out there and be comfortable before you start to feel like this isn't really that enjoyable, in my opinion. But I like to have my space. Because I looked at just chartering one for my family for like a summer vacation this year, and it was going to be like 80,000. And then my wife said, yeah, for a week, I was going to foot pretty much the entire bill and just tell them show up. But then she made the good point that they all have little babies. And I was like, ooh, fuck that. I'm not paying 80,000 fucking dollars to get stuck with kids on a boat. Are you crazy? So now we're going to the Cayman Islands by ourselves. Fuck those kids.
Kids.
Oh, man. Uncle Smiddy is not playing around this year. But yeah, so, the flip side of that is, and again, this, doesn't have as much to do with trading as it does just life, but, client has a couple private planes and they do that through NetJets, which is a great service. But even then, he's still paying on top of hours. I want to say it's $1 million a year service, right? To have access, the way you buy those contracts is you buy X amount of a plane. So a sixth, an eighth, half. It's fucking expensive. That said, it's one of the, once you get to fly that way and travel, it's one of the best services in the world. But like you said, Ron, you got to have a net worth of, double fuck you money before that ever becomes a reality.
Double fuck you money.
Double fuck you money. That's where you can go to your boss and go like this and fucking walk off. Or you are the boss and you can do that to all your employees, which is this guy. So
That's the ranchero.
That is Ranchero there.
Listen, if I'm listening to you and you're giving me those numbers on boat ownership, I'm balking at that. Like I want no part of that. If I'm going to do it, I'd do what you're doing. I'd charter like a 10-day something, and then I'd invite friends and I'd syndicate that, right? Like I wouldn't take that hit myself. Like if a cruise is going to cost $200,000 and you can stick 4 couples on a boat for 10 days, I'm going to be like, you want to come? It's going to cost you $50,000, right? Who's in? You know what I mean?
There you go.
Damn,
then
even that
that also ensures that I'm not going to have somebody who wants to bring their damn kids on the boat.
Exactly. Get stuck with that. So this is just a quick Google too. It says, how much does it really cost to run one? A $10 million yacht, they're saying operating costs would be $2 million a year, including fuel, insurance, dock fees, etc. So
that's not me.
20% a year.
That's
yeah.
not.
Look at Jay. I have Jay trained now to always drop VIX spreads and SPX spreads for me towards the end of the day. What a guy.
Kelvin over here. He said the saying goes, if it floats, flies, or fucks, rent it. He's a man of wisdom. That's the truth. And we got Crocs earnings. Is that today?
Crocs? Oh yeah, we should do
Tomorrow.
a rundown of today's earnings. So obviously, Bros is today, right? That's what you guys were talking about. So we have Bros, which I think Ranchero is playing. Kelman in the room is also playing. He sold puts to buy calls. App Lovin has earnings after the bell. Carvana, piece of shit, has earnings. ARM, AMC, Cleveland Cliffs, so CLF, IonQ, 40net, Oxy, which is a big Druck, or not Druck. Maybe that's a Buffett name, and Druck, I think. Beyond Meat. Oh boy, you guys remember that name? Holy shit! I haven't seen. We haven't talked about them in a hot minute, and I wonder why. Yeah. You guys remember the flow in this shit back in 2021?
Mm-hmm.
What a time. BYND.
God,
That
what
name
a
is
disaster.
What a,
Of
yeah,
a
what a
chart,
disaster is right. Then a bunch of
I mean,
Core.
who would have guessed though? Who would have
Core
guessed
is
that?
one that
God,
I'll be
what a-
watching. I love Core. So I'll be watching that.
Joe,
That's
are
it.
you going to play Carvana at all? Are you going to take a stab on anything on that one? It's in. I only ask because
You
it's in
tell-
a spot
okay.
where it looks like
You look
it
at
could
this. You
break
pull up a
down.
daily chart right now, okay? And you tell me, because I am not going to go long this, just purely out of my own bias of
Oh.
Carvana. You tell me how I can short this. Maybe because we're at a top, but if
That's
I
all
was
I'm
going to,
thinking. Yeah.
Ranch, what does this look like to you?
Wait, sorry, hang on. What am I looking at?
Carvana.
Oh my God, the price of these options is insane.
And there, yeah,
That's the other problem. Yeah.
jacked. But
Mhm.
I can't look at this and even with my bias of hating Carvana and say I am okay shorting it as much as I want to. Not for the IV, not for the cost, not because they're going to cook their books. Like there's just so many variables. It's like a PLTR to me.
Yeah,
I will play momentum on it though after earnings,
Mhm.
like PLTR.
Right.
agree with that. If you were going to say, listen, you have to make a trade today before the number, I would say buy puts only for the reason is that they ran the price up close to the highs and they ran the price up going into a catalyst event. That's the only reason I would say buy puts.
Yeah, and if the IV is jacked enough, I might play skew. But Carvana's a name where it can get wild outsized moves. So it's
Yep.
like tough for me to even want to take on that type of like I won't collect enough premium for me to be excited on this. If anything, if you really wanted to, like similar to what Ron said, like I would sell higher end calls past the all time high here to buy puts if I wanted to do some finance. But I can't look at where this goes up to. This is not for me. However, if I will tell you this, the minute that the action on Carvana is to short, I will be balls deep in this shit. And I will be calling Lucci to get balls deep into this because this name I can't stand Carvana.
You call him so you can flip your profitable inventory to him.
That's right. Yeah, you want to short again? Here, Luch, take it. You could take on what I already made. But that's what we do with PLTR. So PLTR is a good example of this, right? So I know some people were playing this, but yesterday I think I said it on the broadcast. When I was looking at PLTR, I'm like, I'm not touching this. However, if I wanted to, I'll ride momentum. And you could have played momentum on a short here from down to 105, $7 down. But PLTR is a name too. I'm not going to sit in it because they could easily run this piece of crap back up. That's how I'm looking at it, Smid.
No, I like it. I like it.
Same as Carvana, but I agree with Ronch. If I'm going to play it, only because they ran it up. If I had gun to my head, I'd play puts.
ARM, Jay posted the ARM lines over here. Looks like there's some put selling in the June 20, 110s, 100s,
not opening,
and
though.
115s. None of it's opening, no. So who knows?
See, there is a big meta play. I was going to talk about it. You guys were talking about something else. So meta.
What's going on there?
Meta, Jay couldn't find any closing size, but someone went and bought for June. So this is shorter time frame. 605s, 5.5 million.
I don't like
June. So that's interesting. They paid 25.5 for them. Just pointing it out to people. I struggle to, how I'm still struggling to get long on a lot of these names. Not up here, at least.
I will tell you of the Mag 7s, Meta actually executes. And for as much as I don't like Zuck, he makes good decisions with the direction of that business. So,
Mhm.
And he's kissing the ring.
yeah.
You can never discount kissing the ring.
Let's see. They had some sort of legal shenanigans going on, correct? I think
Yes.
that was a little bit of their catalyst on the downside.
I mean, even looking at Meta, though, if you compare the rest of them, I mean, look at Google today, obviously had the negative headline, like that dropped out. Meta's holding up. Microsoft, after earnings, holding up the move.
Good old Netflix. Still
That
can't sell.
Nvidia's doing whatever. Oh, fucking Netflix, man.
Stop
Holy
trying to
shit.
short it.
Can't short that.
I'm not. I'm just watching now.
There are other. See, that's what I was.
Easier trades.
That's what I was going off about this morning, and that's why I made the reference in the Ocho today too. When you get to the intersection at the stop sign, you look left twice. You look left. You look right. You look left again before you go. Right. So I don't understand. Literally, I don't understand why I would try and short a Netflix where it's at versus a Google that rolled over versus an Amazon that couldn't clear the 50 now 2 days in a row. Why I wouldn't short an Apple where the primary trend is broken and they continue to come after it day after day with puts. Like I'm going to make money in those names before I make money in Netflix, right? And when and if Netflix does roll over, you'll have time to get there. You'll still have time. You don't need to be the guy that gets the top. Most people think that's what you got to do.
I will say a name that I started to eye again today that we traded a bunch is Oracle, starting to hold above the 50. Looks a little constructive. Earnings are 40 days out, 41 days out, so might have a little bit of, but it's a little bit in no man's land. The next area of resistance I see is about 154. That's going to be the year-to-date VWAP high. So kind of keeping an eye on that, but no action so far. If it can hold this 50, it might be, might take a little dabble, maybe 10,000 shares and see what we can get.
The only thing I don't like about the 50 is it's still pointed, there's no mistake. It's pointed down.
Yep. Correct. Yeah.
Your 200 days flattening out. So to your point, Smid, I agree with you. It is kind of in no man's land. Below that 145 areas could be, you could run into some trouble there.
Right. And what is the 200 day sitting at? Pretty much, what is that? 160 almost? Yeah. It got real quiet out here. There's not much going on. Gold did pull back after JPOW started talking, so he got a nice little rinse there, but respecting the lows from overnight for the most part.
He's done yapping too, so now it's probably quiet, maybe till we get mock. You can see on my screen for those watching, like this is Tick Strike. Looks like they're selling off financials, healthcare, and some consumer staples right now, just little sell programs. But I mean, I'm okay. I need, my VIX calls are, I think, flat now. They're up a little bit earlier, flat now, but I got a lot of time on them, so
I got 3 degenerate plays. I don't want anything else.
3 degens. He's tapped out.
Don't want no rematch.
What is Archer doing, actually? I know you guys are talking about Joby, but I played that Archer for a little while, too. ACHR. Nothing. Flat.
Got some guys in the room calling out Pro Bowl in the room, calling out this CFLT that's Confluent. got a nice, decent size sweeper, 200,000, and those are going out to
Post earnings
June.
bet too.
Yep, they had earnings. It looks like the 1st of May.
It looks like
30th of April.
I've looked at this name before. Oh, this is the anchored VWAP on its IPO and on the all-time highs, maybe.
I don't trade bull. There are some guys in the room that are trading bull from a purely speculative standpoint and technicals. It's not a bad spot, but man, what the hell was that move to 79.50? You like it for a swing? I would say if you like it for a swing, first of all, how far are you going? I
Need
like
time.
Yeah, I think you need time, and I think you need to be in the money. I think you need, at a minimum, I think you need to be in a 60 delta. And then you probably need to get out of the way if it breaks below 13.
Yeah, and this is the IPO playbook, right, Ron? We see this all the time. You get these crazy pops off the rip, and then they settle out and dump back all of it. For me, I do have bull, but I own equity in a longer term portfolio. This is not a trade. This is a maybe they get steal some shit from Robinhood, tuck it away type thing.
Yeah.
So I can't really give much perspective outside of that portion of it. I have a nice, people will say I have a hard on for their mobile app. I think their mobile app's great, but they are, technically China. So
No can do.
yeah. Seeing more stars here. Smid.
Yep, I was noticing that.
Chopped around after, which usually is not what I like to see, but they both worked. Interesting. But yeah, it's really slowed down. I mean, there's nothing really hitting on Squawk. Programs are dead. My guess is this is how it'll be until Mach. And there's a shit ton of negative gamma here at 5,600. And it looks like they're building a little more gamma up at 5,580. So if they want to dump this out, that's where I would be looking for a target 5,580.
Back to lows.
Yeah. That's gamma's been building on that for the last 30 minutes. It's over double, almost tripled in size, the gamma at that strike in the last 30. And on my chart too, like you see these red lines, this is just when tick drops below 1,000 or above 1,000. The red is obviously negative 1,000. And so you can see this is pretty relatively bearish. But nothing matters until Mach. Ranch, maybe there's something you could tell people on bull, because, I think the comment here from Tony Two Trades is like a swing because it's starting to curl. But in your experience, right, like you look at a name like that with such a dramatic drop, people shouldn't really think that it's going to go back up to that level, even if it starts curling and catching a small bit of a bid, right? You're only going to get so much.
Anything above this most recent high 1765 is, to me, is suspect. It doesn't mean that it can't run, but that high of, $80, how's it going to get there? What's the catalyst to get it there?
Yeah.
But I mean, just purely from a speculation or a technical standpoint, like if you wanted to, you could take a full position here. I think if you stay in it below, if it crosses 13 and you still stay in it, I think we got to get your head checked.
Spotify.
Webull has real-time transfers with Visa. All right, so launches up. It was April 28th. So yesterday adds real-time transfers with Visa Direct. I don't know how to translate that, Joe, to what does that do for earnings? What is that? You know what I mean? What is that?
Yeah, too tough. It's too early.
Yeah.
All right. Like that's why my perspective of this, the smarter play is, get some equity. Oh, got some programs going off here.
And just tuck it away, right?
Tuck it away. Right.
Yeah.
And then, wait till you get a little bit more data from how things are going to play out, how the market's going to react. Because the last thing you want to do is say, oh, well, it went up to 70 on an IPO pop, right?
Yeah.
And then it sells off and now it starts to curl up. And then all of a sudden, as earnings start to come out, people are like, yeah, no, this is actually a piece of crap. And you have a $2 stock. It's entirely possible. Do I think that happens? No.
Yes.
Damn, program's firing here. They're selling VIX, buying semis. Did we get some? Did we get some news?
Wow, look at that candle on Broadcom.
They bought a shit ton of. Look at Nvidia. They bought a lot of semis here. A lot
Well,
of
yeah,
fat, man.
Look at the buybacks that you had in ASML, and you had massive sweepers in.
Here we go. Trump to rescind global chip curbs amid AI restriction debate.
There you go.
And there's your headline. Send it to the moon.
Sorry to interrupt.
No,
You're good. That's what we were looking for. No, Trump said to consider. Consider.
Yep.
This guy. Oh,
You're
this guy.
listening
You're
to Trade the
listening.
News. I had to throw that in for the interruption, Raj. It's only fair.
I like it.
Oh man, the shenanigans though that's going on with this administration of the back and forth is really tiring. This
Yeah.
has not been my environment with all this. Because you look at this and you're like, well, yeah, exactly. It's tough though. Very tough. Because then, if you're not in it, you can't really chase right here. At least today, makes it tough. You got to be in it and be happy. Yeah, that Broadcom, that was a nice $5 pop there.
Yeah, it's a good pop. Look at the ASML.
I mean, look at that rip.
Yeah.
And now you got people trickling in small size. I mean, this is where I'm going to watch this flow and see how many, people actually believe in this shit.
It popped $10 in 3 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at that TQQQ guy, right? Like what? 57.23, or where was it when he bought that? Did he know? No, he was riding momentum. Hero momentum. And then we had a QQQ guy.
They're all getting swept here now. So the TQs, the Marvell.
Oh, this guy knew. Look at this shit. Look at this. Look at this Q sweeper, Ranch. He bought it at 480.33 on the Qs, which is right here. Right before we ripped off. He bought 485s.
Nancy.
Yeah. Jeez. And now I'm getting texts from people. I'm getting texts from my TLT guy right now, Smiddy.
What just happened?
Hey,
My cousin.
Yeah.
He loves. He's literally. That's what it says. What's the news?
Should I sell my TLT calls, dude?
He's in TLT calls with you, I think. Oh wait, you're not in them, but
I'm not. I'm not actually gonna buy it. I'm not.
he's playing.
That's too slow.
TLT.
That's not exciting enough for what we need over here. Unfortunately.
Couple of sweeps in
And that
Micron. They just keep hitting them. Sorry, Smith.
Yeah, Micron, Nvidia.
no, you're good.
Marvell.
I tried to explain at one point, when we're not using all the capital in this account, we should be sitting in the money market funds and just scraping the yield. I had Schwab call us at one point and was like, "Hey, why are you guys not taking advantage of this?" And I was like, "Listen, if you would like to sit and have that conversation for the fourth time and explain that to Guy, you are by all means. You have his phone number. You give him a call." But I got done, and now we catch an Oracle sweeper. So
see that.
May 9th, 157.
I mean,
which
An AMD
that's
suite.
a little
It's all
far out.
just pick one you like.
don't be surprised if they retrace this. Is
But
all I will say.
Yep.
100%.
Right, like this is the shit that they've been trapping people on for the last week and a half.
Yeah,
right,
day in, day out.
you get in, they see these pops, then people get absolutely bowled up out of their minds because they see this shit going crazy. Everyone's like, what happened? What happened? People buy calls, and then they end up ripping the floor. You become exit liquidity for everybody else. That's happened
Yeah,
what,
bring in
like
the NASDAQ.
twice this week already? 3 times this week?
The world needs ditch diggers too, Joe.
Right? I mean, it's already happening. That's why I want to see when this happens. I like to see, and this is what Ranch has always, kind of told me too. I want to see a sweeper come in with some time, with size, and being like, okay, this is legit. Not like I'm trying to scalp this for, half 50 cents.
Well, to your point, Joe, it depends what you're looking for, right?
Exactly.
When we get a market like the one that we're in and it sells off, to me, it's the same thing as being at the beach at low tide. That's when all the cool shit on the on the sand is there, right? Like that's all it represents for me. I'm hunting elephants. I want, and that's the foundation for me because it all pivots off of, okay, now that I have some opportunities and long-term stuff, I can get some of that long-term opportunity, and now I can be active short-term around that long-term position or that thought. And I think a lot of traders just want to know on a day-to-day basis, where can I turn my $10,000 into $1 million today? That's
right.
I think the wrong approach, but to each their own.
Yeah, and in this environment too, that's why we've been doing a lot of scalping, right? Like I've fucking almost exclusively moved into scalping just because the hit rates have been much higher if you can pick your spots right, and you're getting paid. Not like when we got when VIX was at 14, 15, and the moves are slow and painful throughout the day. We're sitting here ripping 100 points on NQ in minutes.
Yep.
So it just becomes a much easier trade to scalp and make some cash off of.
Right, and then that cash goes into a pile so that you can buy some of this longer term stuff at a discount.
Exactly, 100%. It's like I learned. It's like I learned from the guy. I don't know. It's like I went and took Ranchero's course. I don't know. Maybe that's why I learned so much.
The crowning achievement will be when you get this to work, and you will. Will you take the big money and put it somewhere where you can't get to it, and go back and repeat the process? Because if you can do that, you will have a foundation forever. But if you don't do that and you continue to, I made $5 million this year, that's great, and then you
blow it all
take
back.
your $5 million and you keep doing the same thing, and now your $5 million pile goes back down to 25 grand, you have committed a sin against yourself. You know what I mean?
Fraudulent.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lucci got caught up in this shit? Let's look.
You're surprised?
Wait a second. No, there's no way. Okay. So right as you and I were talking about this, let's look. Lucci went long.
They're using some Tesla, I think.
Yeah, he went long Tesla, and they've now dumped out the entire move.
Yeah, $2.5 billion to the sell side on market on close.
Oh boy. And,
Yeah,
and there it is. Right here. What did we say?
Sides, dude.
Don't be surprised if they give it all back. And what they do, the entire program has now been erased.
I'm not surprised at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the other thing. Can I trade that? If Lucci can't trade it, what makes me think I can trade it? You know what I mean?
Lucci went long as shit. I mean, the thing is given the playbook, I would have short this, right? Like that's what I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't though. Like obviously I didn't. I'm on here and I didn't pull the trigger on shorting NQ. I've hit my goal for the day, so I'm not gonna fuck with that. But I would have played
The
the
gold star
retrace.
strat worked again, man. That at the highs right there, you gotta set the follow up, and that would have been a nice entry, by the way.
Yeah, the
Ronch,
tough
did you throw
part
that in?
I haven't
Yeah,
given him
no, that would have
access
been
to.
Oh, okay.
But this one would have been tough to do because you're when you get the news like that, right? Like you need to play it off. There has to be another level because you don't know when they're gonna break it back down, right? Like that's the hardest part with even the gold stars is like there is some nuance when it's news driven. If it's not news driven, it's pretty money.
Pretty good.
Correct.
Yeah, and you can see it on the lows during
Here,
their
I'll put it
Fed,
on the
after Fed
screen.
announcement. There was 3 in a row, and it's same thing. Like you
You
would
could
be
average in,
hard-pressed to get
of
long
course, if you wanted
Right,
to.
right.
If you have the account size to be able to buy in 100-point clips on NQ, which I doubt most people can. But here, I'll put it on here so we can see it.
there.
Invite
What we got? What do
only.
we got? Do we know what time Bros is out? Is it right at the close, or they? I'm gonna try and find out for us right now.
Do just the gold ones so people don't get confused. Right, but yeah, this is
Yep.
This is it. I mean, this morning was a good version of it, right? You know, it's right here. Get long. I mean, that's what 875. You take it up to VWAP, that's 100 points, right? Before they dump it out. You know, here you're seeing the big fall off. It got a bottom. I mean, you just had to you gotta be patient sometimes. You know, here probably would have been a loser or a break even. This you would have got the whole long into a VWAP, which is what when you would have shorted.
Well,
And
I mean,
another full long into all of this.
you had some if you were scalping and you wanted to be active and you used some of the tools that we have in the zero room, you would have had a short at the 50 cent. That was a good setup. It's bounced off a VWAP. It's bounced at on the lower MJ today. So like there's a trade every day for everyone, depending upon what it is that they're looking for.
Yeah. And there's a lot of really good setups for those that like the scalping or the 0-day stuff, like in our 0-day room. Right? Like they have some really great strategies, you know, that especially when you pair them up with a lot of the stuff that, you know, Ron Smiddy and I talk about with, you know, VWAPs, but even without them, like there are some really good setups that they have kind of figured out that have high hit rates.
And you might only need 1 or 2 trade.
That's it.
A day.
That's
right?
it.
The guys that want to catch every move are the ones that usually run into serious problems.
So shout out Norse, shout out Lucci. Good job.
0-day mastery.
Ronch, you got 6 minutes if you're gonna pull the trigger on the Dutch Bros earnings trade. By the
And
way,
then you got
Smid.
You're gonna get an algo in a minute here.
Okay. Well, let's see
what
what we know. Thank you for that, Joe.
Yep. Usually it's at 5 minutes before you get another algo. How big it is, we don't know. Relatively muted right now. It's also much harder for me to tell when I don't have Sierra chart open. Sierra chart's very reactive to small price changes, and you can kind of see the pace. For TradingView, kind of lags. But
yeah, I do wonder if TradingView will ever implement that. It'd be really great if they could do that.
Yeah, it's super nice. Just because, again, though, Sierra chart's really difficult to set up if you've never like first time use. It is. Holy shit, was I lost?
If you're lost,
I mean, I ran X.
Oh, Ronch, bro.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out. It's.
I got no shot.
Whew, and their website is even worse. But when you figure it out, I mean, that is one powerful tool, especially for futures. Like really powerful.
That's ExoCharts was the same, Joe. It took
Yeah.
me quite some time to get that all set up, but it also sucked every bit of memory out of my computer. It ran like shit. So
I'm lucky
that
enough
was-
that Sierra does pretty good on the memory side.
mhm.
But I'm with you. Yeah, because your ExoCharts was it's just like Sierra.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, and it was just Bitcoin. It like that. You could do other cryptos, but it was just when I was trading. I was primarily selling options on Bitcoin, so which was fun. It was a fun time.
James Sem in the chat says, "Damn, bodies left in the street on that move up." Yep. It's common playbook now.
Yep.
Imagine you're sitting there too, like, market makers seeing where everybody's at, and they're like, yeah, you know what? Let's algorithmically blow every single person out of this and then rip it back down to where it began.
Mm-hmm.
That's why stops are dangerous, especially in a market like this. You gotta manually be on the button. If you just set a stop because that's your discipline, you have high probability of getting blown out.
Yeah. Depends on how solid your instrument and how you're playing, especially the options or how much fuckery they can do with the pricing of them, right? Like, at least on Futes, like you have a line in the sand because it's all the same, but they see it, they'll run it. I can't tell you how many times Smiddy and I were talking about where I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna move my stop here, and then instantly blown out, and then it goes back to the same direction I had. I'm like, oh, that's a lesson.
Look what they just did to the chips.
Yeah, they bounced and now we're going back up. Did you end up trading bros?
I'm in at 410.
Okay.
Nice.
That's what we're going to be watching.
Watch. $4.10.
We watch the bros. Watch the bros.
The one I'm more interested in is cores. Like I have better size on cores than the bros.
For today, because they got earnings today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know my coherent has it.
Remember we had the put seller and I bought right at the fucking or the bell, and then they freaking pulled the rug down to like 7.
And then it worked. And then think about that. You had the right play. They just wanted to fuck with you. That's literally all they did.
I know. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna bite on that.
All right, so we'll put up core.
I mean, there wasn't enough pressure on me to begin with, right?
I'm gonna move my charts around here. So we could show these. Let's put this up here. Get rid of that. X-ray, Jay's feed, and we'll put up the STEAMROOM chat.
Anybody, and those of you who are listening, don't forget, like when I do something like a bros or a cores or a Joby, it's complete speculation. It's not the mainstay of what I do. It's more for entertainment purposes for myself. I'm willing, like the cores. I've got to admit that I managed my position on cores well to get into a trade that if I lose, it's not going to bother me because it was profit from the scalp to begin with, and the bros is just this is just a complete flyer. So risk profile wise, the bros lottery ticket is way worse off than the Coors Lotto ticket. The Coors Lotto ticket was the better play. The Bros one, not so much. The Bros one is just a complete fuck it. I'm hucking off the cliff.
Right, and you have a little bit of time on this one, so at least it's not. We did the same with Reddit, right? We had 9 days, I think 8 or 9 days when we bought those. Which I agree.
I bought it the day of.
Oh, you bought the 1 day out. I was in the following week. I think that is the difference.
We traded the same day, didn't we, Smid?
We did. I think that. Did you buy the weekly expo though? Because I bought this week's.
I was
in this week's.
I gotta go back and look. I think I bought a
That
week out.
may be the difference.
I was looking to get away from
Okay.
the IV.
Okay. Yep. Then we were on the same strike, so
I bought the
I should
I
have
bought
managed
the
that.
118s or the 117s, and in the after hours they looked great. And then in the morning I
Yep.
was scrambling. And I also bought shares because you and Kelman were buying shares. So between selling the shares off of the open and the options, I had a loss, but it was pretty small. But it
Right.
gave back. We were at like 140 in the after hours, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
And it just completely puked it all up the next
yeah,
day.
it was like, no, I'm not sticking around for this.
Right. I had my chance to get out with the gains from the equities and my loss on the options. I had a chance to get out at break even. I think I was up maybe a few $100 and I was greedy and now it cost me. But we got some time.
Ronch, there's a question for you in the chat here from JT. Ranchero, are you still doing Trading the Post room?
Well, so the answer is yes. However, it is not a standalone service as it used to be, and we have a room inside of the service that's called the Ocho. And every Wednesday, I go in there and I discuss the market broadly. I discuss the Trading the Post trades that we currently have going and ones that we're looking at. I also talk about some of the other strategies that I like to use if I can get it. For example, a condor. If there's a good setup on a condor, I like condors from an aggressive standpoint, meaning can I catch a change in direction and morph one of the legs of the condor to be an offensive trade. And then we also talk about just like how are you looking at things? Like today, I spent a long time talking about why shorting Netflix was a lot harder than it was to short a Google or an Amazon or Apple, right? So cover stuff like that in there now too.
And also to add to that, his course that he offers is called Precision Options, which goes over everything that he talked about. He teaches it directly to everybody. You can find that on our website under the education tab.
Education.
That's what I learned. That's how I got to where I'm at right now with these two clowns.
Well,
Taking Precision Options and the master course. Because when I took the original master course, your section wasn't in it. That was early days.
That was early days.
Yep.
That was when I was convincing Lucci and Charlie that I knew what I was doing.
Yep. Then I took the TTP. Oh, ARM arms out.
Arms out? How'd they do? Ooh, not a good reaction so far.
Yeah, arms out.
Waits for the cold.
All right. Well, bros, quick dip to 55. Looks like I was right, and the coffee is ass. But
Yep. So those
we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know. But right as of right this second, it doesn't look good.
Initial reaction.
But they could just buy this right back up. This might be the initial quick shakeout, and then they run it back up higher.
Yeah, it's just a 10 lot, so whatever's. And hopefully, if you did trade this alongside me, you didn't do it in a spot where you now can no longer make a rent payment or your car payment. Hopefully we're clear enough for degenerate plays and that they are coin tosses. And that
Can you
whoever
guys
the,
hear that? Do I need to mute? Is that buzzing
You're
in the
good
back?
now.
Okay.
is that work at your house, Smitty?
No,
Carvana's
that was my
out.
car.
Carvana
I don't
is
have
out.
the valves are permanently disabled on that thing, and it's got a 3.5-inch pipe, like straight pipe back from the cats. So it is fucking loud.
You didn't get pulled over for that?
No, you can pretty much do whatever you want here.
California.
It's not like Cali.
I was gonna say.
Oh
that.
yeah, they would. Yeah. No.
Straight pipe will get you a ticket in Cali.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't want you guys to have fun out there. I don't know what the problem is.
They're communists.
Beautiful.
I'm telling you that.
What in the hell?
know,
There's
dude.
no way Carvana did. Okay. Fuck off. Carvana reports Q1 gap of 1.51 versus 0.75 estimate. Revenue 4.23 billion versus 4.04. There's no way.
They're cooking. They're cooking.
There is like fraud allegations with those guys.
Yeah,
correct?
huge, massive fraud allegation. That was this was one of the last names that the Hindenburg guys did.
Right. And Hindenburg shut down, correct? They kind of closed their shop up and
Yeah,
said,
they're done. They made their money and they're out.
Yep. Good for them. I remember his note, the founder's note. It was really, I thought that was pretty classy way to wrap up shop. And speaking of fraud, whatever happened to those fools at Riley? Ooh,
Fuck Riley.
looking rough. Yeah, not looking good. Those the
FTNT
medical
is
property
out.
trusts, which that's another one that seeing those guys sponsoring, Porsche Cup cars and IndyCar races, really fucking mind blowing to me. But
We have
the
a
guys
thing
over
here
at
from
Hedgeye.
Gene. Sorry, go ahead, Smid.
What's up? Oh no, the guys over at Hedgeye, Rob. I think he's moved on to greener pastures, but he did a great job breaking down the alleged fraud at Medical Properties Trust, which they've managed to keep it going. I think Cahodes was in on that one as well. Ranchero, that was another one that guy was pretty hot after.
Yeah, if you don't want him parking a chair in your colon, that's a bad thing.
No,
Gene T says Carvana is actually becoming popular. People don't want to deal with dealerships. Well, I don't disagree that people don't want to deal with dealerships. You tell me how many people you've spoken to in your life that have bought a car off Carvana. Selling a car to Carvana, totally different story. I know people that have done that because it's no hassle, but bought one or went to a vending machine. There's still a vending machine by me. There's no way there's 4 billion in revenue. I just don't believe it. And that's okay if you disagree with me. That's just not a thing.
I wouldn't trust any car from a Carvana dealership. I wouldn't trust not a single one. And I don't trust any used car to begin with. If I buy one, it goes to a mechanic for an inspection that I choose and pay. No way am I buying one from Carvana.
Yep. And according to, there's a great article. Those are the last ones they did that, if you guys want to read this. And Hindenburg has a pretty high hit rate, just very high. But there's a really good report on them. HindenburgResearch.com/Carvana, if you want to read it. It's brutal. It's brutal. And the thing is, they're saying the used car business accounts for 70% of their total revenue, according to their, end of Q4 report. So nobody buying brand new cars from
chunk
them.
of revenue.
Buying brand new cars that get shipped and brought to you out of a vending machine. Duh.
They have brand new cars. I thought they were
They did.
only used.
They
okay.
they did at one point. I don't know if they still do, but at one point, the entire premise of Carvana was you could go to a vending machine and buy a car.
Do the old token thing.
That's quite literally how it was.
I'm hopping on this trader psychology call with some of the other St. Lucie guys. So if anyone in the comments would like to learn more about that, DM Norse or Mario. It's a fun thing we do every Wednesday. And they bought the bros back up to 58.5. So
I see that.
not looking too shabby, Raj.
Your room full a bowl of crazy flakes in there. You guys, you can't imagine what you guys do in there.
It's all sorts of shit, but it's a good time. You should pop in sometime and slap us all around a little bit. We probably need it.
I mean,
But all right, good hanging
bye,
out with you
Smid.
guys. I'm gonna
All right,
go.
Smid.
I gotta go run, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning.
Smid, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, so Muja
Later.
right here, 355 to 302. Exactly. Like that's
That's
100% the point.
now, right? Like that's just like. But
in the used car sales business of all businesses, this isn't an AI play, right? This isn't, defense contracts. This is used cars. And I, as someone that has sold now 2 used cars in the last couple of years, I've gotten Carvana to quote me, and Carvana was never close to what CarMax was going to give me ever, not even remotely close. So
this is what, in my opinion, this is what makes trying to short such a difficult game, because you guys, in my opinion, you guys are correct. Like this is something that shouldn't be at $250 a share, but it doesn't matter, right? Like the price is what somebody's willing to pay for it. And if they're willing to pay this $255 a share for it, it doesn't matter that you think it should be a short. You can try and short this thing forever. It might not ever come down, or it might not come down in your lifetime. You know what I mean?
I mean, for me, one of the bigger red flags in all of this was when one of the lead guys sold $1.4 billion in Carvana stock too. Right? Like you just oh, that's a pretty significant amount. Why would you do that if you believe in it? And again, the company has run up since then, but insiders know better than me and Ranch typically.
We tracked it. Here, look.
Yeah.
He bought on August 18th of 2023 $116 million at $37.05. And he sold when, Joe?
This Ernest guy that I'm talking about, that for 3.6 billion, said it was in September of 21.
So he took $116 million and turned it into $3 billion on his own stock. That's why insider buying is important.
Yeah, look at this. For every $1 net income it reported, the company has added $139 in market cap, a $34 billion market cap increase. That's disproportionate. And the thing is too, even if you didn't go through all of this, right? If you didn't look at the stuff, or you didn't like just your typical eye test, right? Like we've talked about this before. There was a book, I forget who it was by, but he'd always be like, oh, if you're interested in investing, like think about the shit you use all the time, right? And start there. Carvana is not something I hear anybody talk about ever, which is always CarMax. Sure. Carvana. No, that's enough of a sniff test to be like, yeah, I don't know if I trust this shit, to at least start digging further,
Oh shit. Look at Melly.
Oh, Melly's out.
Luci's calling out Melly in the other room here. It's up 10%.
Melly had earnings.
$24.88.
Please tell me he's going to play this. Jeez, that Melly is unbelievable.
No, come on. Joe, do you see what I'm looking at?
Don't look at it. Just don't look at it. Don't look at it. It's not worth it. Yeah. Peter Lynch, you're right, Muja. That's the guy I was talking about in his investing book. Ron, as soon as I saw it, I knew you were about to say something to me.
I'm just gonna throw up. All right, let's go look at Dutch Brothers again here.
Yeah, make yourself feel better. Bros has retraced the whole
Now
thing.
it's up.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a lot of fuckery on the earnings, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like Reddit up, then retraced. AMD up, retraced. Vice versa right now on Dutch Bros. What did APP do? APP's up.
Oh, my boy. My boy told me this was going to be the outcome. And he was fucking
Yeah.
spot on.
APP. They did a 1.67 beat against 1.45 estimate. Their sales were 1.48 billion, which beat the 1.38 billion estimate. What did Coherent do though? Coherent's the one that I have shit in. I don't think it's out yet. Fortinet was another. A little bit of a sell there. Oh, Carvana's dumping? Yes. Sink this pig. Just screams fraud. What else we got? We miss any of the other big earnings names? Beat Arm Melly.
Jesus, my boy believed in this so much that he's long. And this is APP. He's long equity. He shorted puts and he bought calls into them.
Oh boy, I hope this holds. Look at this move.
Well, he can offset with his equity if he needs to.
Yeah, look at that move. For those wanting to know how outsized of a move that is, I mean, look at this. That's huge. Looks like Axon Enterprise is up. It's not a name we usually play, but it's a bigger name. AMC. CLF. Nothing. CLF is down. Oh, and then Oxy. That's the other one. Ion Q.
I gotta get
Boy.
out.
Boy.
I'm just not looking at it anymore.
It's so perfect. Bros flip positive. Honestly, I would love to see Lucci shoot at one of these right now. Oh, and he might be a Myrna. No. Eli Lilly. Bro's starting to move now. A little bit higher. All right. I think that covers the majority there, Mr. Ronchero.
Is Coors out?
Coors is not out yet. It looks like it's higher though. 9.2, 9.1, but the volume's so small that I don't know. Let me check what time they're supposed to report. It should have already reported. Let's see. Core's earnings. Let's see if people on X have it. Their conference call is at 4:30.
All right. As McConaughey would say.
Man, the FinTwit loves uranium. Coors. I mean, I'm seeing a post that they reported earnings. I don't know these people.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah, they announced it. Coors announced it on their website.
And they're going to do a call in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Call in 10 minutes. It looks like it was I mean, it's up. It's just volume is so shit.
Well, we'll see what the volume looks like tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be
'Cause I
important.
can't do fuck all about it until then anyway. Oh, look at Bros. Look at the little pop and Bros.
There it is.
All right, well, who knows with this damn thing?
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait again to the
Yep.
morning.
Who knows? All right.
Alrighty.
Have yourself a wonderful evening.
You too, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Ronch, I know you're traveling tomorrow, right? So you're out.
Yeah, well, I'll be around. I'm traveling in the early evening, so I'll be around for most of the day. In the morning tomorrow.
Okay, sweet. All right, thanks everybody for
All right, guys.
tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.